Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to my League One Team of the Year. I cannot believe we're at the end of the year and we're now reflecting on an incredible calendar year of League One football, highlighting some incredible individuals we've had the pleasure of viewing across 365 days, of League One football. I stress, this is the calendar year, so we will of course be talking about players that are now playing in the Championship. We're still going to be talking about the Hull Cities, about the Peterborough, about the Blackpool, of course. They have been promoted into the Championship because we're looking at the entire year from January till now, December. We're going to be highlighting all the players that have stepped foot on the League One stage. Now, I did do a video, my team of the season at the end of the 2020-2021 campaign. It's fairly similar, however, there are changes to the team because we have seen some fantastic players start this campaign very, very well. I say start, we are 20 games into this season. It's incredible to think we're already 20 games into it. We're also going to be looking at lots of different players also that could have been playing in those different positions. I've tried to give as many alternatives as possible, giving players some credit that I think deserve some credit, as well as, of course, highlighting my big 11, my starting 11 of all of the best players across 2021. Now, as always, I want to hear from you in the comments. I know a lot of people will be disagreeing and agreeing. It's opinion-based, of course it is. There isn't a set team of the year. I think League One probably will release one, but there is going to be one that everybody can agree with. That's what we love about football. It's what we love about football discussion. It's all about opinions, and I'm intrigued to see what you've got to say as well. So let me know, do you disagree with some of the decisions I've made? Do you agree with some of them? Hopefully agree with some of them. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, on the road to 600 subscribers. So please, could you hit that subscribe button? So much content like this and more coming to the podcast, and you want to be part of that journey. You want to help me out, trying to get to 600 subscribers before the end of the year. I think we can do it. I trust that we can do it. Please be part of the journey and hit that red button. That would be much appreciated. So, in goal, I'm going to go with the Blackpool goalkeeper, Chris Maxwell, and he was fantastic last season. Of course, he won the playoff final with Blackpool, got them promoted into the Championship, and was part of that very, very good team last year. Outstanding team last season, should I say. He has to be the goalkeeper for me. Some of the stats here I want to highlight for you last season. 0.8 goals conceded per game. That's less than one goal conceded per game, which doesn't sound outstanding, but I can tell you one thing. That is a very, very good stat to have. Also, you think about the amazing teams we've got in that league and how competitive League One was last season. It still is this season. You can see how fantastic it is. Of course, we're looking at League One. You can see there 6.92 average rating for Chris Maxwell. Really, really impressive. I want to also look at the other goalkeeping stats there as well. 86 saves made. Chris Maxwell feels like the best shout as the goalkeeper. He was fantastic last season. Of course, we're only focusing on League One because this is the League One team of the year, but he was fantastic last year in goal for Blackpool, and he's going to be my goalkeeper. Now, I do want to touch on other players. Well, this is what I mean by touching on other players in that position. I do want to talk about Jack Stevens at Oxford United. And not just because I'm an Oxford fan, because I think he deserves a bit of a shout-out. Last season, he got an average rating of 6.92. Of course, he he came as the first-team goalkeeper, the number one goalkeeper, should I say, sort of midway through the season. Quite early on, but he didn't start in goal from the start of the season. A 50% penalty saves ratio as well. He got 13 clean sheets and 70% saves as well, 70% per game, so a very, very good set of stats for Jack Stevens in goal. I feel like he definitely deserves some sort of credit. This season he has had, unfortunately, an injury. He's only played 13 games, but he's got a very, very decent average rating for a goalkeeper of 6.7. He's got 65% saves per game as well, so a little bit lower than last season. He's played less games. But I know, very, very impressed with Jack Stevens. But I think Chris Maxwell is the man I'm going to go for as my goalkeeper for this League One team of the year. So next then we're going to go with Callum Elder at left back. He was a player that I put in as my left back for my team of the season, and I think he just deserves to stay in at the left back spot for my team of the year. You can see me finding him here. Here he is, looking at his League One season. Here it is. Last year, he was fantastic. He got an average rating of 7.28. Like I said, he was in my team of the season. I think it's only fair we keep him in that team of the year. And that's why they're quite similar, because they had obviously the chunk of last season was quite big. And you saw from January up until May, of course, when that season finished, May, June, when that season finished. Of course, it was quite a difficult season to finish with obviously the pandemic. But you can see a large chunk of last season was in 2021. And you feel that I think he just deserves to keep his spot. You look at the chances created here. 13 big chances created, 9 assists and 1 goal as well. He wasn't just very good defensively. He wasn't just playing as that left back. He was fantastic going forward and causing problems and creating chances for Hull City last year. Of course, they won the league last year and he was a phenomenal and pivotal part of that squad. Again, I want to touch on those clean sheets. 18 clean sheets. You can see that defensively he was phenomenal, as well as, of course, like I said, being a threat going forward in the offensive phase of play. Very, very impressed with Callum Elder. Like I said, he was in my team of the season. I think he's got to be in my team of the year. That is who I've gone with as the left back. But I do want to give some credit to someone else, Joe Jacobson. Of Wycombe Wanderers. Of course, he didn't play in League One last season, but he started this season so well. That's why I think he deserves some credit. I'd say a lot of credit, really, for how well he started this season and how well he started his Wycombe campaign in 2021 for the 2022 season. He got an average rating of 7.51, 2 goals and 4 assists. He got 1 penalty in there, but still 4 assists. These big chances created as well, 5 of them. So going forward, he's causing problems for the opposition and helping Wycombe going forward in that offensive phase of play. He is an attacking fullback. You can see that, similar to Callum Elder, both of which really, really helping out their teams going forward. 17 of the week appearances already in League One, down to sofa score. 1.6 key passes per game, 5 clean sheets, 4.5 clearances per game and 80% successful dribbles. That's a fantastic set of stats. But when we're looking at the long term and the whole season, when you look at it, Callum Elder did, I'd say, just edged it. It's quite close, but I think Callum Elder, across what he did last season, I think keeps his spot in that team of the year. But Joe Jacobson certainly deserves some credit. Next, then we're going with the first centre-back, and that is unfortunately an ex-Oxford United player. We lost him in the summer to play in the Championship. That is Rob Atkinson. He is now playing for Bristol City, but last season, of course, in an Oxford United shirt in League One, he was absolutely brilliant. And I was just so impressed with Rob Atkinson. And it was sad to see him go, but you can see why he's gone to Bristol City, and you can see that shows you a lot, doesn't it? To go to a Championship club, I think that says a lot about how his season, how his year has gone. Of course, it was a phenomenal sort of debut season in the Football League for Rob Atkinson, and I was so impressed by him. And watching him every week, you just saw that he was getting better and better as it went on. I want to look at these defensive stats straight as well. We can look at the other things as well. He did get 2 goals. He did actually create a big chance as well. But I want to look here at that the passing and the accuracy of his passing. He's a ball-playing defender with an 80% pass accuracy, well, 79% pass accuracy. So impressed. 11 clean sheets, 2.1 interceptions per game, 4.8 clearances per game, and look at this, successful dribbles. The amount of times that this player got hold of the ball and ran into the opposition's half and just shocked them was absolutely brilliant. And 82% successful dribbles as well. I want to show you his heat map here, so you can see he's not just sitting in that penalty area, he's causing problems, he's getting up, and you can see where he spent a lot of the time for a defender in that area and causing some really different problems that you wouldn't normally see with a centre-back. I want to also talk about this stat here. Where is it? Let me try and find these duels here. Total duels won, 70% total duels won. That is fantastic. In the air, 70% as well. On the floor, 69%. So impressive there when it comes to duels. And like I said, his defensive stats are phenomenal. Rob Atkinson is my centre-back this year. One of my centre-backs this year for my team of the year in League One. But I want to mention somebody else as well, and that is going to be Mark McGuinness. He's a player that he was at Ipswich last season. He's now at Cardiff. But last season, Mark McGuinness was absolutely fantastic, and he deserves credit for what he did at centre-back. He got an average rating of 7.15, 9 clean sheets in that Ipswich Town defence, 5.5 clearances per game, 2.3 interceptions per game, and an 81% pass accuracy for that ball-playing defender we saw in Mark McGuinness last year. Like I said, he's not playing for Ipswich at the moment, or anymore. He's at Cardiff now, but last season he was phenomenal and a pivotal part of Ipswich defence. I think he deserves credit last season and for this year. I think he's been very, very good. Rob Atkins is the man I've gone with there. The other defender, my defensive partner with Rob Atkinson I've gone with, is a man playing for Peterborough. Of course, he was another player that was very, very important in Peterborough's promotion-winning campaign. His name is Frankie Kent. He's fantastic last year, and I think he deserves to be in this team of the year. He got 1 goal, 1 assist, 4 big chances created, which is really, really interesting for a defender. But look at this here, 16 clean sheets, 1.5 interceptions per game, 1.5 tackles per game, and 4.4 clearances per game. Frankie Kent at the back last season for Peterborough was absolutely fantastic, and he deserves to be in this team of the year. Gone with Rob Atkinson. I've gone with Frankie Kent. They're the two centre-backs I've gone with, but a special mention to Mark McGuinness at Ipswich last year. I think he did a very, very good job and quite unlucky to miss out. So right back, I've gone with Louis Cole. This man here last season was fantastic. He was in my team of the season. I think he deserves to stay in that team of the year because he had a fantastic year at Hull City last year. And I think deserves to keep his place and keep his spot in this side. He got an average rating of 7.17 down to sofa score, 3 assists, 3 big chances created. Not that attacking fullback that we've seen with the likes of Callum Elder, we mentioned with Joe Jacobson, but certainly a fantastic and a rock at right back last year for Hull. And like I said, so important in the team that, of course, won League One. And like I said, there's a few Hull City players in this side. They deserve it. Of course, last year winning the league, they've surely got to have some players in the team of the year. 1.1 key passes per game isn't great, but certainly not bad at all. Key passes are obviously down to sort of XG and big chances created coming off them. It's not the highest you've seen, but again, he's a fullback. 8 clean sheets is very, very good. 1.4 interceptions per game. 2.1 tackles per game as well, 2.6 clearances per game. So impressed with him, and like I said, an average rating of 7.17 I think says a lot. Like I said, he's not that attacking fullback really when it goes to the stats. He does get forward, but he's not that that player that's I guess creating those massive chances last year. However, he was very, very good when it comes down to defensive stats. You can see his heat map there. It does show that he is getting up the field, but they're not as high as Callum Elder, but still a massive player in terms of importance, that whole side and that whole defence last year. So Louis Cole is the right back I've gone with. But another special mention, like I said, we're going to be picking out players from these positions that aren't getting into the side. I'm quite unlucky not to get in the team of the year. I want to highlight another Oxford player, Sam Long. In last year, he got an average rating of 7.11, 6 goals and 4 assists. 10 goal contributions last year for a right back is absolutely brilliant. And he was that brilliant player. He was brilliant. So impressed with Sam Long last year. 3.1 clearances per game, 3 big chances created. He was going up and down that fullback position so well, up and down the flank. And again, offensively being very, very good, but also defensively being very, very good as well. This season, he's had his injuries. He still created, though, 3 big chances. 2.9 clearances per game, 3 clean sheets. He's also done jobs at centre-back and at left-back as well. So we've had sort of COVID and injury problems. So we have had to sort of, I guess, swap round the players, if you like, and try and use that sort of, not really versatility is probably the best way of wording it, versatility of the defenders to try and keep a back four that's good enough to compete, and thankfully we have done, and Sam Long's been a huge part of that, so he definitely deserves some credit. Sam Long, Oxford United, is the player I've gone with behind Louis Cole, who's going to be my starting right back in this team of the year. Right, then let's move on to the midfielders. We're going with a 4-4-2. I failed to mention that at the start. I do apologise. But this man here, George Grant, he was brilliant last year. Absolutely out of this world. And these stats blew me away. You can see he's at Peterborough now. So he did get that move in the summer. Of course, Lincoln got to the playoff final. They lost it, unfortunately. So he moved on to Peterborough, a team who did get promoted. But last year, I mean, he deserves that move to the Championship. It's disappointing from a Lincoln perspective, but he was fantastic last year and deserves deserves to be in the team of the year. 7.51 average rating last season. 13 goals. 13 goals. He did take penalties. He took 10 penalties. But again, you can see that he's very, very good at that penalty conversion. He's got a 19% goal conversion out of outfield. You can see, yes, those goals, a lot of them are coming from penalties, but it proves he's very, very clinical at taking those penalties. He could have got more, though. You can see there he had 14 potential penalties he could have taken. Of course, 3 goals came from outfield play. They got a lot of penalties last year. Lincoln City, you can see there. But, the penalties, let's look at those assists. 9 assists last season. And again, let's look at those chances created. 12 chances created. So you look at those goals, they're great stats. You look at, yes, a lot of them are penalties. Let's look at those assists, though. Let's look at those big chances created. And you can see there how brilliant he was at doing that. Like I said, he was brilliant last year for Lincoln and a massive part in their success. And I think they are missing him. Yeah, they're not having a great season this year, but you can see how important George Grant was last year. I mean, he's not that sort of defensive player, if you like, but he did get 1.1 interceptions per game, 1.8 tackles per game. You can see those dribbles at about 60% dribbles, but it's those passing stats for me. It's those 2.2 key passes per game. That's 78% pass accuracy. It's those stats for me that have been very, very good, and definitely George Grant deserves to be in the team of the year. I'm going to go with my other midfielder that is in the team of the year. So George Grant's partner in midfield, in the two-man midfield we're going with in this 4-4-2 for the team of the year. I've gone with George Honeyman. Another Hull City man, and one that certainly deserves to be in it. He was in my team of the season. He has to be in my team of the year, because when we think League One, and when I think League One last year, I just do think George Honeyman because of these fantastic stats. 4 goals, but 13 assists, 21 big chances created. Honeyman was brilliant last year, and he deserves 110% to be in this team of the year. You look at those creative stats, he was brilliant. 8 team of the week appearances on SofaScore as well, but those big chances created is just mind-blowing. 2.2 key pass per game as well, and 80% accurate passes, 78% pass accuracy and 86% own half accuracy as well, so slightly different. 3.1 tackles per game. So impressed with George Honeyman. He can play in midfield, in that sort of deeper midfield role, but he can also play in that attacking midfield role as well. You'd even say there that the strengths of George Honeyman down to SofaScore is his playmaking. I think you can see that with 22 big chances created. But as always, I mean, so we are going with George Grant and George Honeyman, the two Georges, spelled differently, but still the two Georges in midfield for my team of the year. But a few more special mentions for players I think in midfield this year, this calendar year, have been brilliant and deserve to certainly get some mention. And that first one is a Charlton player who's had yet to play this season due to injury, but absolutely brilliant last year in Jake Forster-Caskey. Last year, got an average rating of 7.26, 6 goals and 2 assists, and 1.4 key passes per game. Jake Forster-Caskey was brilliant last year and unlucky not to get in the team of the year. We had some brilliant midfielders, some fantastic players that could have got in it. But yeah, I just think that George Honeyman and George Grant were the ones that really stood out for me. Another one, Cameron Brannigan at Oxford, certainly a player that deserves a shout out. Last year, 7.02 average rating. He didn't have his best season. That wasn't his best. I think he is having a better season this year. He did have an eye issue, so he's out of season for quite a lot of it. He still got quite a few games in there, but he did miss a large chunk of it. 1 goal, 2 assists, so not great, really. 2 big chances created. A fantastic pass accuracy of 86% and 2.5 tackles per game. But very, very impressive in terms of... Not in terms of looking at, and that's why you have to be careful with stats, and that's why this could be sometimes a little bit misleading. And this is why when you watch your team every week and you watch these players every week. I watch Cameron Brannigan every week. I know that he's better than those goals and assist stats. He did struggle to get goals and assists last year, but this year he's got 4 goals already with 2.4 shots per game, 7.25 average rating, 2 big chances created, and 2.6 tackles per game, and 84% pass accuracy. But I think George Grant, I think George Honeyman, they're the 2 midfielders I'm going to go with. Like I said, Jake Forster-Caskey and Cameron Brannigan certainly deserve some credibility, and I'll mention them. Certainly they deserve a mention. But I'm going with George Honeyman and George Grant as my midfielders. So we're going to move on to the wingers now. I'm going to start on the left wing / left midfield role in this 4-4-2. And I'm going to go with Aidan McGeady of Sunderland. He had a brilliant year last year and certainly deserves to be in this team of the year. Like I said, another player that was in my team of the season and deserves to be in the team of the year. Some of these stats are outstanding last season. 4 goals, but 16 assists. Aidan McGeady was brilliant last year. Of course, he's still going strong at the age of 35. And last year, he was no different. 13 big chances created, 2.5 key passes per game, and successful dribbles of 58%. But you see how many dribbles he makes as a winger. You can see that isn't actually as bad as it looks at face value. It's still more than half of those dribbles coming off. Like I said, the amount of dribbles that Aidan McGeady makes is absolutely outstanding. But it's those creative stats again. 80% accurate passes per game. It's a 91% own half accuracy when it comes to passing. But it's those big chances of 13 and those assists of 16. He did go, not lucky, but he did have that Charlie Wyke striker who was taking away a lot of his chances last year, and he was creating a lot of chances for him, but they still had to be made, they still had to create them, and Aidan McGeady certainly did do that. So he is my left midfielder in this team of the year. But I want to mention Connor Grant at Plymouth, who is sort of a left back more than he is a left midfielder, but he is certainly... He can play in left midfield, he can also play quite high up, so I think I've already given you a sort of Joe Jacobson as the other left back. So I think if I have to give Connor Grant some sort of mention, so I've got to put him as that left mid spot. He can play in that role. He can play in midfield. He just play left back, left wing back. You know what I'm trying to say. But I think Connor Grant deserves some credit. Last year, an average rating of 7, and I only till this season really I've seen Connor Grant sort of become more and more spoken about because this season, like I said, we'll come on to this season, but he's been brilliant this year and certainly got people talking about him. But last year he got 15 goal contributions, an average rating of 7, 9 big chances created, 11 assists in those goal contributions as well, 77% pass accuracy and 1.6 key passes per game. Connor Grant was brilliant last year, but this year in a very, very good Plymouth side who are doing very, very well, he has got an average rating of 7.29, 5 goals and 2 assists, 6 big chances created, and 2.3 passes per game. Connor Grant has been brilliant, absolutely brilliant this year and in this calendar year, and he definitely deserves to be spoken about. And there's some key stats there that I've highlighted. In terms of the other wing, if you like, the other side, the right side, I'm going to go with Joe Ward of Peterborough. Of course, they did get promoted, Peterborough, and he was a brilliant player in that. But I just think that Joe Ward, it just deserves that credit. And I think last year, when we look at his creative stats, and we'll look at them again, he was brilliant. He was in my team of the season, like a lot of these players, but he deserves to be the team of the year as well. 5 goals and 13 assists last year in the Peterborough side that, again, were brilliant last year. They were absolutely class. And Joe Ward was very, very important in that, especially offensively and in those creative sides of the game. I'll highlight that again. 17 big chances created, 77% pass accuracy as well. I just think he was brilliant, as well as his 5 goals. 14 of the week appearances down to sofa score. He has to be on that right side of the midfield. He has to be the right winger in this formation and in this team of the year. So there are 2 wingers we've gone with, Aidan McGeady and Joe Ward. Special mention to Connor Grant. Another special mention, who didn't make it, could have been on that right-hand side, is Jordan Graham of Gillingham. He's now, of course, at Birmingham City, but last season at Gillingham, he was certainly a standout player. He got an average rating of 7.2, 12 goals and 6 assists, 14 big chances created, 2 key passes per game, and a 77% pass accuracy with 55% successful dribbles. Jordan Graham certainly deserves some credit. He's not in the team of the year because of the fantastic wingers we've also got in this team of the year, but he certainly deserves to have those stats highlighted. So, moving on then to the strikers that we've got. Moving on to the forwards. We're going with, of course, a 4-4-2. So, we've got our 2 strikers. And the first one to go with is Charlie Wyke. Now, this one, of course, we've heard the pretty horrific recent news about Charlie Wyke and that cardiac arrest that he suffered on the training ground. Thankfully, he has survived and he had the necessary medical help. And, thankfully, because of that fantastic medical help from the Wigan manager, because he's now at Wigan, he saved his life. And that, of course, is a massive relief. But in terms of what he's done on the pitch in this calendar year as well, he has been absolutely brilliant. And, of course, the health of him and him actually being alive and him still... recovering, he still is recovering, but him actually coming out of that situation, what it looks like at the moment, fairly well, that is more than, the most important thing, and a complete and utter relief. But like I said, this calendar year, Charlie Wyke has been absolutely brilliant, and I've been so impressed by him, and he has to be in this team of the year. Last season, 26 goals and 3 assists. 26 goals. Honestly, absolutely brilliant by Charlie Wyke. I was just so impressed with him last year at Sunderland. And this season at Wigan as well, I think he's also been scoring goals. And that's also brilliant. 5 goals and 2 assists in those 15 games. He's scoring goals this year. He's got an absolute monster amount of goals last year for Sunderland with 26 goals. He has to be in that team of the year. He has been, I'd say, one of the best strikers we've seen in League One for a while. He definitely deserves to be in that side and in this team of the year. Somebody that I'm going to be partnering him in this team of the year is Johnson Clarke-Harris. He is at Peterborough, and he's a player last season that was just bagging goals for fun. And these strikers in this team of the year, together, they've scored a lot of goals. 26 for Charlie Wyke. He scored, this man, Johnson Clarke-Harris, 31 goals last year. That is unbelievable. But what is also unbelievable here is those big chances missed. 24 big chances missed. That man could have had over 50 goals. He could have 55 goals last year. But he has to still be in there because of the goals he got. He got 31 goals, which on its own is unbelievable. He could have had even more. But to say he's got 31 he had 31 goals is just absolutely outstanding and has to get him in this team of the year. 3 assists as well. He created 11 big chances, to be fair to him, as well as also creativity. He offered that creativity as well as he did that goal-scoring, bagsman-like striker as well. No, he was absolutely brilliant. I look at his goal conversion here of 23%. I mean, that's quite low. But still, to get 31 goals is still absolutely remarkable. He scored 7 out of his 10 penalties. He was brilliant. 23 goals on it left foot as well. A left-footed striker. They don't come around that often. But Johnson Clarke-Harris certainly did come around last season and was brilliant. And he deserves to be in that team of the year. That's our 11. That's the team of the year that I've picked. But I do want to give a special mention to a few others. Scott Twine and Vaden Oliver of Gillingham and MK Dons. Well, of MK Dons and Gillingham. That's the wrong order. But Scott Twine this year has been brilliant. And he also was brilliant last year as well. But the way that he started this year, he deserves to have some respect put on his name. And also Michael Smith of Rotherham as well. I want to speak about him. But Scott Twine, last season, he got an average rating of 7.06, 7 goals and 3 assists, so 10 goal contributions last year. But this year, 9 goals and 7 assists already this year, 10 big chances created, a phenomenal average rating of 7.68, 2.5 key passes per game, 80% pass accuracy, and 4 Team of the Week appearances on SofaScore. He has been brilliant this year, Scott Twine. Although last season it wasn't mind-blowing, this year he deserves to be in the mention. And although it's difficult because these, obviously, Clarke-Harris and Charlie Wyke, they had a whole season really. They had a much bigger sort of chunk of the year to sort of get, rack that tally up. Of course, 31 goals weren't all scored in 2021. But, of course, they were brilliant, and both of those players did score a lot of their goals. And also, Johnson Clarke-Harris got Peterborough promoted in 2021, and with his goals, he was able to do that. So I think that certainly has to be taken into consideration. Vaden Oliver of Gillingham, he did very, very well last season, scored 17 goals. And Michael Smith of Rotherham this season has already got 12 goals and 6 assists, an average rating of 7.47. 7 big chances created, 3.7 shots per game. So he deserves some credit as well, but I don't think he quite gets his team of the year over Charlie Wyke and Johnson Clarke-Harris. That's my team of the year I've gone with. Like I said, it's been a brilliant calendar year of League One football, and as always, I want to hear from you. So let me know in the comments down below who are you going to be in your team of the year. Maybe give your team of the year in the comments down below. I'll be very, very much reading them and responding to them. Remember, if you haven't left a like or subscribe, leave a like if you enjoy the content, subscribe if you're new as well, on the road to 600 subscribers before the end of this calendar year, which is very, very interesting. But this is my League One Team of the Year 2021. It's Chris Maxwell in goal with Callum Elder at left back, Rob Atkinson and Frankie Kent as the two centre backs, Louis Cole at right back, George Grant and George Honeyman in midfield. On the left, I've gone with Aidan McGeady. On the right, I've gone with Joe Ward, and up front I've gone with Johnson, Clarke-Harris and Charlie Wyke. That is my Team of the Year. Of course, I've also been mentioning the other players as well. Like I said, some fantastic individuals, and it's been very, very difficult to narrow it down to just 11. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, like I said, show support by doing all the things I've already mentioned. And until next time, take care, stay safe, and I see you all very, very soon.